They killed me in the dark woods, cutting me open for a brutal demonic ritual and leaving my broken body to rot. The cultists believed my soul was devoured, my life erased as a trivial sacrifice for their greed. But they committed a fatal mistake. I did not die. Trapped inside a glowing cursed gem, I lingered in the darkness, reborn as an ancient, hungry entity far more terrifying than the petty killers who murdered me. No longer Mark Castle, an ordinary high school senior, I had become a dungeon core. And tonight, the pristine suburban town of Point Hope would fall to the nightmare they had crafted. The hunters were about to become the hunted. Endless, silent darkness surrounded me. I had no physical senses, only the lingering, scorching agony of my murder. Fragments of my death replayed endlessly, the sudden swerve of a truck, the blindfold over my eyes, the cold slash of a knife, and the disorienting horror of waking up dead yet still conscious. Clad in my stained school clothes, I was trapped in an empty void with no sense of time. Weeks or months passed as I endured endless torment. I starved without decaying, injured myself without healing, trapped in an inescapable nightmare. Though I had never been religious, I prayed and screamed into the darkness, but no answer came, until the void finally shattered. I suddenly stood in a moonlit forest glade, staring down at my own mutilated corpse. My sensory organs floated in stained jars around my body, and demonic glyphs marked the damp earth. 7 figures circled my remains, 4 men and 3 women. All ordinary residents of Point Hope who hid unspeakable evil beneath their suburban facades. I recognized every one of them, my football coach Justin Hodge, my English teacher Kirk Gamble, realtor Jenna Batten, law firm worker Dave Yates, town influencer Maxine, deputy Rebecca Torres, and the silent, towering stranger Alvin Jones. Dressed in casual everyday clothes, no ritual robes or dark regalia, they were neighbors I had once trusted, bound together by greed and blood sacrifice. Helpless and frozen, I watched them gut my body and chant in an unknown dark tongue. I screamed and begged for mercy, but they could not hear my spirit lingering nearby. Hodge, the cult's ruthless leader, tore my heart from my chest and held it aloft in triumph as their chants crescendoed. I was trapped in a maddening loop, forced to relive my brutal murder over and over again, unable to escape or end the torment. After an hour of unrelenting agony, Jenna handed Hodge a glowing, fist-sized cursed gemstone. Raising it high, he recited a final dark chant, and an invisible force dragged my spirit toward the relic. Floods of memories crashed over me, Hodge's fake offer of a ride home, the drugged vodka, the handkerchief that smothered my breath, and the fatal wrong turn that led me to the ambush. The moment my energy touched the gem's crimson glow, my mortal life ended for good, and my new existence as a dungeon core began. My physical form vanished entirely. I was no longer a human boy, I was the gem. I gained omnipresent new senses, I could see through foliage, burrow through soil, drift through clouds, and hear every faint whisper across miles. I could oversee the entire quiet town of Point Hope, the home I had lived in for 18 years, now tainted by the cult's hidden darkness. Back in the glade, the cult descended into chaos. Their ritual had failed completely. The gem granted them no wealth, no power, no status, everything they had murdered me for was wasted. Each of them had killed for selfish ambition. Hodge craved coaching fame. Kirk wanted post-divorce riches, Maxine sought influencer success, Rebecca dreamed of becoming sheriff, and Dave chased a law firm promotion. Bitter arguments erupted, and they blamed Dave for the failed sacrifice. They buried my desecrated corpse in a shallow grave, erased all evidence from the glade, and scattered. Hodge ordered Dave to destroy the tainted gem, but after being abandoned, Dave accepted a ride from Alvin, shoving me inside his backpack. Bound to the gem with a 1-mile movement limit, I traveled through Point Hope's quiet streets, passing innocent landmarks forever stained by violence. Dave returned to his luxurious suburban home, a property bought with the blood of sacrifices like me. He scrubbed his skin raw, burned his blood-stained clothes in the basement incinerator, and prepared to hurl me into the flames to end the failed ritual. As he lifted me toward the fire, a supernatural game-like system prompt appeared before me. I was a Z-rank dungeon core, gifted with 4 abilities: Heat Surge, Mind Shock, Telekinesis, and Levitate. Fighting to survive, I activated Heat Surge. The gem burned Dave's hand, slipping free and rolling under the couch. Terrified and confused, he searched the dark basement for the floating cursed stone. I struck with telekinesis, slamming him into a support pillar. When he stumbled toward the stairs to flee and call Hodge for help, I slammed the basement door into his face, sending him tumbling down the steps. He crumpled on the floor, unconscious and broken, bleeding heavily from his skull and fractured leg. When he woke and begged for mercy, blaming everything on others, my repressed rage exploded. He had willingly helped butcher me, and I crushed him beneath a heavy industrial cabinet, ending his life. As Dave died, red spiritual wisps flowed from his body and merged with my gem, granting me essence, crystals, and a rank upgrade. A new prompt appeared: designate the Yates residence as your dungeon. I claimed the house instantly. Arcane sigils spread across every wall and floor, twisting the ordinary suburban home into my haunted, deadly domain. My power surged, and I could sense every living soul within my territory. Dave's wife Ashley returned home unaware of her husband's death or the house's transformation. A hidden demon under my control possessed her body, turning the gentle housewife into a ruthless, loyal servant bound solely to my will. Soon after, cult members Maxine and her boyfriend Adam arrived, searching for the failed ritual gem. They felt an unsettling aura in the home but ignored their unease, waiting casually in the living room for Dave. I tormented their minds with phantom whispers and icy cold drafts to fray their resolve. Using illusions, I lured Adam upstairs, separating him from Maxine. He discovered Ashley's mutilated, burning body in the shower, her skin peeling as she grinned maniacally. I locked the bathroom door, trapping him alone with the demon. Ashley mocked his secret affairs, repeating his hidden messages to other women before torturing and killing him. Adam's death fed my core, amplifying my dark power further. Maxine screamed and pounded the locked door, but it was too late. When the door opened, she found Adam's corpse and the demon stalking her. She brandished a blessed pendant and chanted an exorcism spell to repel the entity, but her sacred relic was weak against my dungeon magic. Enraged, I seized her with telekinesis, slamming her through a glass window and stripping her of all protection. The demon broke her sanity by manifesting as her dead boyfriend, then possessed her body, gaining an unsuspecting new disguise to hunt freely in the town. Consumed by a core's insatiable hunger for essence, I sent the possessed Maxine roaming the suburban neighborhood to harvest life force from innocent residents. She hunted a grocery shopper, an elderly retiree, a working housewife, a delivery driver, and 2 truant teenagers. I spared only one victim, resilient teen Tessa, leaving her as the sole witness to the suburban nightmare to spread terror across Point Hope. Every kill upgraded my rank and filled my crystal reserves, erasing the last traces of my human morality. In one night of carnage, I harvested 9 essences and over 1,800 crystals, rising rapidly in dungeon core rankings. The Yates residence became a tomb for the greedy cultists and innocent bystanders caught in my vengeance. I abandoned the compromised house, dismantling my first dungeon, and ordered my demon servant to drive me toward the remote McLaren forest, where I would build my permanent, powerful domain to grow stronger and spawn new monsters. The cult's reign of terror was far from over. Hodge, Torres, Jenna, and Alvin still walked free, unaware the harmless sacrifice they'd murdered had evolved into their worst nightmare. They killed me for power and wealth. Now I would destroy their lives, ruin their reputations, and burn their perfect town to the ground. The game they started was no longer theirs to control. The dungeon core had woken, and the real hunt had only just begun.